Chapter 1085, 139. Chapter 1085, 139. The Greenfire Palace was the gathering place for top experts in the Greenfire world. It was named after the Greenfire world and only existed for it. Following Celestial Master Yu Ding, Jian Wushuang passed through a vast, dark void and also a number of complicated formations. Finally, he came to the Greenfire Palace. Is this the Greenfire Palace? He looked forward and saw a land float quietly in the void between two mountains. It was a boundless land that was dotted with numerous rich decorated and splendid buildings. The entire Greenfire Palace gave Jian Wushuang a feeling of great antiquity. The place where I am at now neither belongs to the Samsara continent nor the Void continent. It seems to be outside the Greenfire world. I didn't expect the Greenfire Palace to be here. Jian Wushuang was surprised deep in his heart. Beside him, Celestial Master Yu Ding glanced at him and said, "An expert in the Greenfire world found this land many years ago. It's quite unique and many palaces have long existed here. Moreover, they cannot be destroyed." Cannot be destroyed? Jian Wushuang was astonished. The buildings, flowers, and trees here cannot be destroyed. Even if you destroy them, they will restore themselves immediately. In addition, that expert also discovered that the cultivation environment here is way better than that in the Greenfire world. We can receive much better effect if we cultivate here. Celestial Master Yu Ding stated. It really has such a miraculous effect. Jian Wushuang was taken aback. Not only everything here had the self-repair function, but this place was also much suitable for cultivating. It was indeed a good place. That's the reason why we established the Greenfire Palace here. Celestial Master Yu Ding smiled. Follow me. The two moved toward that floating land. When Jian Wushuang really set foot on this land, he immediately noticed the unique places of his surroundings. The heaven and earth spiritual energy here was obviously denser than that in the Greenfire world. Most importantly, as soon as he stepped on this land, he felt that he calmed down quickly and his mind relaxed. If he cultivated in this state, he certainly could gain twice the result with half the effort. It's really amazing. Jian Wushuang admired secretly. Jian Wushuang, since you newly joined the Greenfire Palace, I'll briefly introduce something about it to you. Celestial Master Yu Ding added, it exists only for the survival and interests of the Greenfire world. Compared with the entire eternal chaotic world, our Greenfire world is too small. If our world wants to survive in the eternal chaotic world, our experts must unite. That's why we established the Greenfire Palace. Yeah. Jian Wushuang nodded heavily. He was aware of the responsibility that the member of the Greenfire world must take. Though Empyrean Patriarch possessed a powerful strength, in order to enjoy life and freedom, he refused the invitation of the Greenfire Palace. Jian Wushuang was ashamed of such behavior. The Greenfire Palace has existed for many years and possessed a lot of experts till now. However, some of them died and some left. Thus, there are only numbered Celestial Masters here. Celestial Master Yu Ding exclaimed. How many Celestial Masters are there now? Asked Jian Wushuang. If I count you in, there are a total of 139 Celestial Masters who still stay in the Greenfire world. Celestial Master Yu Ding replied. 139? Jian Wushuang was shocked. Celestial Masters were rarely seen in the Greenfire world. Both in the Samsara continent and the Void continent, Celestial Masters were legendary beings. Even those top forces only possessed few Celestial Masters. The ancient monster clan, known as the number one population on the Samsara continent, only had 3 Celestial Masters. Now, however, Celestial Master Yu Ding told him that there existed 139 Celestial Masters in the Greenfire Palace. Why are there so many Celestial Masters? Jian Wushuang asked, doubtfully. Many. It's very few. Celestial Master Yu Ding shook his head and continued, Jian Wushuang, you have become a rising star recently, thus, you don't know much about the Greenfire world. Do you know how long the Greenfire world has existed? This, Jian Wushuang lost his tongue. To him, 10,000 years was a long time. But to those old experts who had already reached the top, it was just a short moment. He did not know how long had the green fire world existed, but in his opinion, it must have existed for 10 million years, at least. The green fire world has existed for more than 40 million years, Celestial Master Yu Ding said. This is quite a long time. But how many experts have appeared during this period? Jian Wushuang gasped in shock. When a warrior's strength reached the eternal realm, he could live a long life which seemed to be eternal in ordinary people's eyes. And when he became a Tao Master or Celestial Master, he could live much longer. Unless being killed by someone else or suffering some natural crisis, Tao Masters and Celestial Masters would never die. The number of experts that had been produced on the Void Continent and the Samsara Continent over the past 40 million years must be an astronomical figure. Though I am unaware of the exact number, I assume there must be more than 500 Celestial Masters in the Green Fire world over the years. Some of them died and some left for the eternal chaotic world. Most of the rest chose to stay in the Green Fire Palace. Celestial Master Yu Ding explained. Celestial Masters in the Green Fire Palace are mostly very old and have nothing to worry about. They are only interested in improving their strength. Therefore, they have been staying in the Green Fire Palace for a long time and seldom show up in the Green Fire world. As time passes by, the forces in the Green Fire world have long forgotten their existence. I was well known in the Green Fire world 3 million years ago. Now, however, few people know me when my name is mentioned. Jian Wushuang understood that. It was normal for people to forget those Celestial Masters if they always stayed in the Green Fire Palace without making an appearance. Jian Wushuang, look up at the two men. Celestial Master Yu Ding gave Jian Wushuang a sign. Jian Wushuang saw that in front of him, there were two old men, one in white and the other black, sitting cross-legged in front of a Chinese chessboard at the top of a pavilion. Without doubt they were playing chess. As if they had perceived Jian Wushuang's gaze, they took their eyes off the chessboard and looked at him. Chapter 1086 Eyebrows. Chapter 1086 Eyebrows. An Eternal Realm Rookie? The two elders had a look of surprise on their faces. When does the threshold for joining the Green Fire Palace become so low? It even allows an Eternal Realm Rookie to join, although he is just at the Eternal Realm. Perhaps he is the ruler of a powerful force, right? It makes sense, haha. They talked to each other without paying attention to Jian Wushuang and Celestial Master Yu Ding. Jian Wushuang's expression turned solemn. He could figure out that they were formidable and should have reached the advanced Celestial Master level. They are the Celestial Masters of our palace and they became famous top experts in the same era 5 million years ago. Celestial Master Yu Ding explained. The one in black is Celestial Master Zhong and he was previously the ruler of a powerful force. But for some special reasons, the experts in that force had almost been annihilated by others. So, he chose to stay here and allow that force to run its own course. The one in white is Celestial Master Xiao Ming, a solitary expert. Jian Wushuang could not help having deep admiration for them in his heart. The two Celestial Masters coming out of nowhere had lived for more than 5 million years. This proved that they were really too old. Jian Wushuang, I want to show you someplace, follow me. Soon, they came to the top of a lofty pavilion. They saw an open space in front of them and in its center, a grey light bead floated quietly in the air. This bead was dotted with layers of abstruse, mysterious cracks on its surface. What's this? Jian Wushuang asked as he stood in front of the grey light bead. Jian Wushuang, since you have joined the Green Fire Palace, you are entitled to know our secret. You'll know that once you touch the bead. However, before touching it, you must take a mortal oath that you will never leak our secret to anyone else. Celestial Master Yu Ding said grandly. Mortal oath. Jian Wushuang froze. The mortal oath must be sworn on one's essence blood. He would not pay a heavy price even if he broke it. Nonetheless, Heart Demon would grow inside him and it would have a great impact on his future cultivation. Therefore, under normal circumstances, no one would easily break the oath. I, Jian Wushuang, swear. Jian Wushuang immediately swore the mortal oath. Fine, go and touch it. Celestial Master Yu Ding said. Jian Wushuang nodded and slowly extended his hand toward the grey light bead. The moment he touched it, a huge picture appeared in his mind. What's this? Jian Wushuang thought and looked solemnly. What he saw was a boundless world. Its broadness was completely beyond his imagination. Obviously, this world was divided into two different continents. Is this the green fire world? Jian Wushuang frowned. The complete world he saw now turned out to be the green fire world. He did not know how vast this world was previously. Nevertheless, this bead enabled him to have a panoramic view of it, including different territories and dangerous places. Celestial Master Yu Ding, what's this? Jian Wushuang asked with a look of doubt on his face. Don't hurry. Just continue to sense it. Celestial Master Yu Ding answered. Jian Wushuang closed his eyes again to feel it attentively. Soon, he saw a wider world outside the green fire world. The world outside the green fire world. With doubt in mind, Jian Wushuang began to observe it. Without doubt it was much bigger than the green fire world. More and more things came into Jian Wushuang's sight. He caught sight of a land that was countless times larger than the green fire world, and the green fire world was just like a pebble on this land. Most important of all, it was in ruins. Battlefield. Jian Wushuang's heart knocked. He instantly made out that it actually was a battlefield that had been existed for countless years, and untold traces of fighting could be seen there. The green fire world was right here on the battlefield. He was seized by shock. The immensity of this battlefield far exceeded his imagination. It was damn vast. Vast as the green fire world was, it was merely a drop in the ocean compared with this battlefield. Jian Wushuang continued to feel it, and he beheld a dense cluster of mountains. They were lofty, and every and each one of them was millions of feet tall. This, Jian Wushuang was completely stunned by the scene he saw. However, he could not see anything further. Jian Wushuang slowly took his hand back from the grey light bead. His eyes popped because he was seized by an unprecedented shock. He had never seen such an incredible scene in this lifetime. And he had never witnessed such an amazing battlefield. Jian Wushuang, the green fire world is out of the ordinary. Jiyu King's affirmative voice rang out in Jian Wushuang's heart. Jiyu King, as a parasitic insect, was connected with Jian Wushuang's heart blood. Thus, he saw everything Jian Wushuang had observed through the grey light bead. Though he knew a lot about the world, he was taken aback as he saw the battlefield. There are untold experts in the eternal chaotic world, and their battles are incredibly crazy. When some top experts with formidable skills kill each other, their actions might result in the collapse of a world. Even so, such a battlefield cannot form easily, Jiyu King said in a deep voice. In addition, have you noticed that the shape and distribution of the mountains on the edge of the battlefield resemble something? What? Jian Wushuang asked subconsciously. A person's eyebrows, Jiyu King said seriously. What? Jian Wushuang was greatly frightened, but he immediately reacted to it. Those mountains did resemble a man's eyebrows. How great the mountains were! The area they covered was even broader than the green fire world. However, they just looked like a man's eyebrows. Chapter 1087, The Secret of the Green Fire World. Chapter 1087, The Secret of the Green Fire World. Of course, they just resemble a person's eyebrows but are not necessarily really eyebrows. Jiyu King added. Agreed. Jian Wushuang nodded and breathed a sigh of relief. There were many people looking very alike in this world, let alone things that were similar to the human body parts. If the mountains he saw were really a man's eyebrows, it would be too astounding. Jian Wushuang, you've seen that, right? Celestial Master Yu Ding cast a glance at Jian Wushuang. Yeah. Jian Wushuang nodded and exclaimed, I didn't expect our world to exist on an amazing battlefield. I had the same expression as you when I saw this. Celestial Master Yu Ding smiled. The battlefield where our world is located is extraordinary. Although I don't know why it is left here, since it is a battlefield, there must exist great opportunities. What's more, it is a lost and unknown battlefield. That means it is fairly priceless. Jian Wushuang's eyes lit up. The remains of the battlefield were full of opportunities. After all, when the war was over, there must be dead experts and a lot of treasures being scattered all over the battlefield. And considering that the battlefield where the Green Fire World was located was spread out over a wide area, it was definitely the remains of a terrible battle, so the opportunities and treasures there would be beyond one's imagination. Jian Wushuang, the Green Fire World is richly endowed by nature. Ji King also exclaimed. Richly endowed by nature? Jian Wushuang was puzzled. This battlefield still remains such an astonishing power after so many years. The Green Fire World is invisibly influenced by it. That's why the Green Fire World has produced more experts and possessed many more people with a special constitution than the other eternal worlds. Ji King sighed. For example, your father's sword spirit body, your girlfriend's primordial great sin body, and so many unique and formidable bloodlines on the Samsara continent, all of them are rarely seen in the eternal chaotic world, but they appeared in the Green Fire World, in the same era. I guess you have understood the good influence of that battlefield. Ji King's comments left Jian Wushuang speechless with shock. However, the Green Fire World also faces a great risk. Since it is on this invaluable battlefield, it seems like guarding a mountain of treasures. Once top experts pass by and find this battlefield, then the Green Fire World will face disasters. Ji King continued. Jian Wushuang's face fell. He understood the saying, sometimes, just possessing a treasure is enough to cause trouble for its owner. Jian Wushuang, although you haven't become famous for a long time, you have experienced a lot. I assume you must be very clear about the great benefits and dangers that this battlefield brings to the Green Fire World. Celestial Master Yu Ding looked at Jian Wushuang and added solemnly, when you looked at the battlefield through the grey light bead, you must have seen an area covered by purple fog too. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. He could see most of the battle scenes clearly but could see nothing in an area covered completely by purple fog. That is where the Jin Kingdom located. Celestial Master Yu Ding said. The Jin Kingdom? Jian Wushuang was taken aback. It came to this battlefield from the eternal chaotic world more than 5 million years ago. Celestial Master Yu Ding explained, in fact, since the establishment of the Green Fire Palace, we have been fixing our eyes on this battlefield. Over the years, a total of 3 groups of experts from the eternal chaotic world have come to this battlefield. We immediately noticed them when they set foot on this battlefield and killed all of them before they could figure out anything wrong here. Kill them all? Jian Wushuang knitted his eyebrows. We have no alternative. Celestial Master Yu Ding sighed. After all, once the news about this battlefield spread, it will inevitably attract a large number of experts from the eternal chaotic world. Our Green Fire World will be annihilated then, without any room to struggle at all. Celestial Masters, Tao Masters in this world can choose to venture in the eternal chaotic world, but how about those ordinary warriors? They must die. The stronger ones will even be captured as slaves or bred in captivity like animals. In a word, they will live a life in which living is no better than dying. For the sake of countless innocent people, our descendants, and hometown, we have to do that. Jian Wushuang understood all this after hearing Celestial Master Yu Ding's words. Nurtured by this battlefield, the overall strength of our Green Fire World is much stronger than the other eternal worlds. Celestial Master Yu Ding continued, other eternal worlds can only produce a top expert above the Celestial Master level after untold years. It's not bad for them to possess 3 or 4 top experts before they are annihilated. However, our Green Fire World has produced 6 such experts over the past 40 million years, except for those exceptional geniuses whose battle strength rivals the experts of that level. Currently, there are 5 Palace Masters in the Green Fire Palace and they all possess the battle strength superior to that of Celestial Masters. Jian Wushuang was shocked. He only knew 3 such experts. They were Samsara Temple Master, Void Temple Master, and Tang Emperor. Who were the other 2? Our Palace Masters are so formidable. When the 2 previous groups of experts arrived here, they acted personally and killed them before they could send the message out. Later, the 3rd group of experts arrived. Celestial Master Yu Ding said in a deep voice. They were experts from the Jin Kingdom. They came here by taking a spaceship. Among them, there were more than 10 top experts above the Celestial Master level and numerous Celestial Masters as well as Tao Masters. As soon as they set foot onto this battlefield, they figured out how extraordinary it was and the existence of the green fire world. So, they directly took actions, trying to destroy our world and occupy this battlefield. Without doubt our palace fought back with all our strength. Chapter 1088, The Secret of the Green Fire World. Chapter 1088, The Secret of the Green Fire World. That was a horrifying battle in which people fought each other desperately. The Jinn Kingdom's top experts far exceeded those in our palace. Nonetheless, there were many people in the Green Fire World. Apart from our palace, all the other forces and a large number of solitary experts in the Green Fire World were involved in that battle. Relying on the advantage of the number of people, we repelled the Jinn Kingdom after paying a terrible price. And among the 6 top experts above the Celestial Master level in the Green Fire World, 2 died in that battle. Many forces were annihilated in that battle. For example, the top experts in the force controlled by Celestial Master Zhong, the old man you just saw, were almost exterminated. Jian Wushuang was astonished but hurriedly asked, "We only repelled the Jinn Kingdom by paying such a heavy price. That was not a bad result." Celestial Master Yu Ding smiled bitterly. The experts from the Jinn Kingdom suffered great losses in that war too. Our palace masters placed a formidable restriction on this battlefield at a great cost and blocked all experts from the Jinn Kingdom here. Neither could they leave nor send the message out. This has led to the present stalemate. Stalemate? Jian Wushuang's heart throbbed. Yes, we and the Jinn Kingdom are fighting crazily in the battlefield presently, whether it is for scrambling for treasures or the intense hatred toward each other. In short, our palace would never stop fighting with the Jinn Kingdom unless all of us died. Celestial Master Yu Ding said. Jian Wushuang's pupils shrank and he asked, "Who gains the upper hand in the fighting?" For the time being, the Jinn Kingdom gains the upper hand. After all, it possesses too many Celestial Masters. Although quite a few experts died in the previous battle, more than half were left. The number of its experts far exceeds that of our palace. Moreover, its expert strength is superior to ours. However, we are just temporarily the underdog. Celestial Master Yu Ding said confidently. Its experts are trapped there all the time without reinforcements, thus, they will all die one day. Unlike them, our palace is supported by the entire Green Fire world and there is a steady stream of experts appearing continually. Our world has been on this battlefield since its birth and its foundation is stronger than that of the Jinn Kingdom. The Jinn Kingdom can only look at the 3 secret lands controlled by our palace in despair. 3 secret lands? Jian Wushuang asked confusedly. Celestial Master Yu Ding explained, they are the Spacetime Secret Land, Sword World, and Heart Tempering Road. The opening times of the 3 secret lands are different. The Spacetime Secret Land opens every 1,000,000 years, the Sword World opens every 100,000 years. The Heart Tempering Road opens every 10,000 years. Your father was so lucky that he encountered the opening of the Spacetime Secret Land as he just joined the Green Fire Palace. He has a lot of talent and his master is one of the 5 palace masters, so he was entitled to enter the Spacetime Secret Land. Then, earth-shaking changes took place on his strength. Jian Wushuang understood all this after hearing Celestial Master Yu Ding's words. He knew that his father had practiced in a secret land for more than 100,000 years, but time did not pass so quickly in the outside world. The secret land his father had entered should be the Spacetime Secret Land. The battlefield we are on is a great treasure. Our world just found these 3 secret lands temporarily. I speculate there must be more secret lands and opportunities hiding on this battlefield. Since the establishment of our palace, many experts have found countless opportunities there. Jian Wushuang, you just joined the Green Fire Palace, so don't covet the 3 secret lands for the time being. There is a place that is filled with opportunities where any member of the Green Fire Palace can enter and gain huge benefits. Celestial Master Yu Ding said. Where? Jian Wushuang's eyes lit up. Don't worry, I will bring you there later. Now, I will take you somewhere else. Celestial Master Yu Ding said. They came to a scarlet pavilion. Although it only had 3 floors, it appeared very tall. Where are we? Jian Wushuang had the look of confusion on his face. The Fire Point Exchange Office of our palace. Celestial Master Yu Ding answered smilingly. Fire Point Exchange Office? Jian Wushuang felt very confused. The Fire Point is something named by our palace and it's equal to point or something like the battle achievement. Celestial Master Yu Ding explained smilingly. Jian Wushuang understood immediately. At the same time, he was aware of the significance of the exchange office. You have been in the green fire world for so long, so I don't need to explain the use of the exchange office for you. I'll just tell you something different. Celestial Master Yu Ding continued, the Scarlet Tower is, in fact, a rare treasure that our experts found on the battlefield. It possesses intelligence and has quite a discerning eye. It can not only recognize many treasures but also is able to estimate their value. And that's why we take it as the exchange office. You are aware that there are many good things left on the battlefield. Most of our experts don't recognize these treasures and their value. However, this Scarlet Tower can assess that. Really? Jian Wushuang finally had a general understanding about that. Right at this moment, Ji King said with disdain inside Jian Wushuang's body, nonsense. It's merely a lowest-grade priceless treasure vault that's spread here from the eternal chaotic world. How can it recognize too many treasures? Ji King, what do you mean? Jian Wushuang asked. Most of the sects and forces in the eternal chaotic world has treasure vaults that is used for their experts or disciples to exchange treasures. For the sake of convenience, some experts especially refined the priceless treasure vaults which can automatically estimate the value of treasures. The higher their grades are, the more treasures they can recognize. The Scarlet Tower in front of you is a lowest grade priceless treasure vault. It's only able to judge the value of some very common treasures in the eternal chaotic world. However, it might be unable to estimate the value of some treasures of higher value, for example, your blood-killing plate armor, let alone your mountain river map. Ji King said. Really? Jian Wushuang's eyes lit up. Does that mean in the exchange office, there might be some treasures of great value that are estimated as something of low value? Probably. You can observe them carefully when you enter the tower later. Maybe you can find some nice things. Ji King said. Chapter 1089 Fire Point Exchange Office. Chapter 1089 Fire Point Exchange Office. Jian Wushuang, go in and have a look. Celestial Master Yu Ding said. Fine. That was just what he wanted. He instantly entered the Scarlet Tower. However, he did not see any treasure at first glance. What he saw were the lists of treasures floating in the void. On these lists, treasures were divided into different categories. For example, magic weapons, secret skills, elixirs, natural treasures, and special treasures. The priceless treasure vault can not only judge the value of treasures but also know how to classify them voluntarily. Jian Wushuang thought with a smile and looked at the magic weapons first. There were countless high-grade magic weapons, including knives, spear, clubs, and other kinds. The worst ones were emperor weapons, top-grade emperor weapons. Top-grade emperor weapons are fantastic in the green fire world and can stir a fever of enthusiasm among many Dao masters. However, in the green fire palace, they are the worst ones. 10 fire points are sufficient to exchange them. Jian Wushuang smiled helplessly. More than 90% of magic weapons here were emperor weapons with all sorts of strange kinds, for example, wings, fans, and copper bells that had special functions. Apparently, those with special functions were more precious. The chaos magic weapons were better than the emperor weapons. The most valuable magic weapon here was a cyan sickle, a chaos magic treasure. Magic weapons had 4 grades in total, namely, the emperor weapon level, the chaos magic weapon level, the chaos magic treasure level, and the chaos divine treasure level. Jian Wushuang's blood-killing plate armor was a chaos magic treasure and his mountain river map was a chaos divine treasure. Good gracious. There is a chaos magic treasure in the Green Fire Palace. Ji King's voice carried a touch of shock. This is a chaos magic treasure. Although it is of the lowest grade and is way worse than your blood-killing plate armor, it would attract many experts to contend for it even if it were in the eternal chaotic world. It must be a treasure that experts from the Green Fire Palace attained from the battlefield. The green fire world itself can never possess such a treasure. Jian Wushuang said. Well, that's possible. Jiyu King nodded. Don't look at the magic weapons anymore. Go and have a look at the secret skills. Jian Wushuang immediately cast his eye over the secret skills. The Firepoint Exchange office owned quite a few secret skills that were of fairly high grades. Good lord, although I don't value most of the secret skills here, I have to admit that there are more than 10 fabulous secret skills. Each one of them can tempt experts like Samsara Temple Master and Void Temple Master to fight for it even if it were in the eternal chaotic world. Nevertheless, there are more than 10 such secret skills in the green fire world. Your world indeed abounds with gifts of nature. Jiyu King gasped in admiration. Jian Wushuang was dumbfounded. He could tell that these secret skills were out of the ordinary. If someone put these secret skills in the green fire world, numerous experts would be crazy about it. However, they were only available to experts in the Green Fire Palace and could not be imparted to others without authorization. But it's a pity that although these secret skills are amazing, the threshold for cultivating them is too high. I guess few people in the Green Fire world are able to cultivate them. Even if they cultivate them forcibly, they will pay a great price. Jiyu King added. All right, let's drop the subject. Can you help me to see if there are any secret skills that are useful to me? Asked Jian Wushuang. Don't worry, I'm already doing that for you. Jiyu King had already glanced over these secret skills and he gained a result in a short moment. The secret skills here are extraordinary and you are in need of a lot of them. But there is only one secret skill that named Golden Image is very useful to you. You are able to cultivate it and afford it with your fire points. Golden Image secret skill? Jian Wushuang immediately searched for it and soon discovered the introduction to it. Protective secret skill? Jian Wushuang was taken aback. He had cultivated one protective secret skill from the Rock Demon clan. It was the Immortality secret skill created by God Hong. The Immortality secret skill had a good enough impact on him previously. Now, however, as his strength improved day by day, especially after he had the blood-killing plate armor to protect him, it had no effect on him anymore. Jian Wushuang, I've considered everything for you. Jiyu King stated, you are a 3-star imperial god and your physical body is very strong. Because of the blood-killing plate armor, you can even try to resist a blow from an elementary or medium celestial master. If an advanced celestial master attacks you, he is able to injure you severely. And if a celestial master at the exceptional realm strikes you, you definitely will die. As a result, you badly need a powerful protective secret skill to toughen your body currently. Although the Golden Image secret skill cannot be classified into the advanced secret skills in the eternal chaotic world, it's good enough for you. It has 3 stages in total. You are required to succeed in cultivating the first stage. At that time, only a few celestial masters are able to kill you if you coordinate it with the blood-killing plate armor. Oh! Jian Wushuang's eyes lit up. He was well aware that of the many skills a man possessed, the most important of which was the skill to save his life. Only when that skill was powerful enough could he live longer. Therefore, the Golden Image secret skill was essential to him. 10,000 fire points. Jian Wushuang was speechless as he looked at the price for the Golden Image secret skill. A Peak Emperor weapon only cost 10 fire points, but the fire points the Golden Image secret skill cost could buy 1,000 such Emperor weapons. I don't have any fire points right now and don't know how to acquire them. I'd better inquire Celestial Master Yu Ding about it later. Jian Wushuang thought secretly. Jian Wushuang, look at the special treasures. Jiyu King's voice rang in Jian Wushuang's heart. Jian Wushuang immediately cast his eye over them. There were all kinds of treasures of different shapes and functions in this type. They directly dazzled Jian Wushuang. Jiyu King exclaimed as he observed those treasures. Jiyu King, what's wrong? Jian Wushuang asked. Haha, nothing, I just saw a few nice gadgets, and as I expected, this is a lowest grade priceless treasure vault that cannot estimate the real value and functions of these treasures. So, the prices for them are very low. Jiyu King laughed. Oh! Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows. Just at this point. What? Ji King suddenly cried out in surprise. What happened? Jian Wushuang asked immediately. Jian Wushuang, I discovered a nice thing, Ji King said smilingly. Chapter 1090, Soul-Leading Incense. Chapter 1090, Soul-Leading Incense. A good staff. Jian Wushuang's expression changed. The killing bead. Ji King replied. Jian Wushuang immediately looked at the killing bead. The killing bead is worth 100 fire points. Jian Wushuang was shocked. There were abundant treasures in the fire point exchange office. Most of them were priceless, so they were worth a lot fire points. The treasure worth only 100 fire points was at the bottom of the list. The killing bead is a treasure? Jian Wushuang asked. Of course it's a treasure. It's just so cheap that the treasure vault has misjudged its value. Besides, the killing bead will be of great use to you, Ji King said. It will be useful? Jian Wushuang was delighted. Exchange it for me right now. Take it easy. The killing bead is peculiar, and nobody in the green fire world knows how to use it. Otherwise, a treasure like this would have already been sold out. Ask people outside how to get fire points first, and then come alone to exchange it after some time, Ji King said. Okay. Jian Wushuang nodded and then wasted no more time lingering at that place. After he got out of the fire point exchange office, the celestial master Yu Ding caught up with him. Jian Wushuang, how's it going? Have you found any desirable treasure? Celestial master Yu Ding smiled. I did find a desirable treasure, but I don't have any fire points. Jian Wushuang smiled bitterly, and then he asked, Celestial Master Yu Ding, do you know how to get fire points? Fire points come from bartering. Celestial Master Yu Ding explain. You can take your treasure to the fire point exchange office for appraisal by the spirit, and he will tell you the value of the treasure. You can exchange it for 70% of its value. For instance, if a treasure is worth 1,000 fire points, you can only get 700 fire points if you sell it to the fire point exchange office. This is the only way to get fire points. I see. Jian Wushuang understood. He thought to himself, when I killed Dao Yuanzi, all of his treasures became mine. Most of them are of great value, and I don't need them all. If I barter those treasures for fire points, how many can I get? Jian Wushuang, shall we depart? Let me take you to the place of opportunity, Celestial Master Yu Ding said. Okay. Jian Wushuang nodded. The battlefield where Green Fire World was located was full of opportunities. Jian Wushuang did not expect much from the 3 secret lands. However, there was an opportunity that every expert of the Green Fire Palace could get. Following Celestial Master Yu Ding, Jian Wushuang arrived in front of a wormhole. Wormhole? Jian Wushuang had a weird expression. The opportunity is in the battlefield, which is far from Green Fire Palace. If traveling by foot, it would take more than a decade to get there. It would save much time to use the wormhole. Celestial Master Yu Ding smiled. Jian Wushuang followed Celestial Master Yu Ding and entered the wormhole without hesitation. As a light flashed, Jian Wushuang reappeared. He was now in a lofty palace. The palace was resplendent and magnificent. Jian Wushuang was in a corridor of the palace. Where is this? Jian Wushuang frowned at the surroundings. It is Taiqing Palace, and the opportunity is right here. Just follow me. Celestial Master Yu Ding led the way with a smile on his face. Soon, Jian Wushuang arrived at the center of the palace. There was a vast hall. There were 4 tall figures in the center of the hall and a huge censer. Are they puppet fighters? Jian Wushuang looked at the 4 tall figures towering in the center of the hall. Jian Wushuang, did you see the 4 sticks of incense around the censer? Celestial Master Yu Ding pointed his finger at it. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. He also noticed that there were 4 sticks of incense with different sizes on the table beside the censer. The 4 sticks of incense were laid side by side from the largest to the smallest. Jian Wushuang could also sense that the 4 sticks of incense were extraordinary. It should be the soul-leading incense. Ji King said in a shocked voice. What is the soul-leading incense? Jian Wushuang asked. The soul-leading incense is a treasure that contributes greatly to cultivation. It could help people find inner peace and upgrade the speed of meditation. Gu King answered. Although it's not complicated to refine the soul-leading incense, the materials required are rare and of great value. Few people could use the soul-leading incense all the time while cultivating, even if they are in the eternal chaotic world. It's too extravagant. Of course, the soul-leading incense will be of some use to you. Really? Jian Wushuang nodded to himself. Jian Wushuang, there are 4 sticks of soul-leading incense on the table, and their sizes vary, Celestial Master Yu Ding said. The smallest one could burn for 2 hours after being lit. The second smallest soul-leading incense could keep burning for a day. The third one could burn for a whole month. As for the biggest soul-leading incense, it could burn for a year. Every expert of the Green Fire Palace is eligible to get 1 soul-leading incense. However, it is up to your ability which one you get. Do you see the 4 puppet fighters in front of you? It is they who will decide which soul-leading incense you get. There will be a battle between you and them. The longer you hold on, the bigger the soul-leading incense you would get. Jian Wushuang understood after hearing what Celestial Master Yu Ding said. Let's start, said Celestial Master Yu Ding as he retreated from the hall. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath, proceeding slowly. As he arrived at the center of the hall, the 4 towering puppet fighters opened their eyes immediately and were ready to fight. Boom, 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 boom. The 4 puppet fighters moved simultaneously and attacked Jian Wushuang from different directions. Jian Wushuang was being very cautious since he had no idea of their strength. He swept his hand that was holding the Blood Mountain sword. A drifting sword light came out. Clang, 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 clang. The sword light struck the 4 puppet fighters, causing a crisp sound as if it had hit the metal. The 4 puppet fighters were sent flying out immediately. That's all they've got. Jian Wushuang was surprised. Jian Wushuang, if I'm not mistaken, the level of the 4 puppet fighters will depend on your own realm. Since you are only at the Eternal Realm, they treat you as someone at the Eternal Realm. However, their strength will increase gradually, Gu King said. I see. Jian Wushuang grinned and then waved the Blood Mountain sword as he approached the 4 puppet fighters. Chapter 1091, Fast and Slow, Yin and Yang. Chapter 1091, Fast and Slow, Yin and Yang. Per Gu King's prediction, the 4 puppet fighters treated Jian Wushuang as an Eternal Realm expert in the beginning. However, as the battle progressed, their strength gradually enhanced until they reached the level of a Dao Master. They went from rank 1 to rank 3, and finally to peak of rank 3. Even so, it did not take Jian Wushuang much effort to deal with them. Then, the 4 puppet fighters rose to the battle strength of an elementary celestial master. It was only then that Jian Wushuang began to struggle. Celestial Master Yu Ding, who was watching the battle attentively outside the hall, shook his head. It's been an hour and the 4 puppet fighters still couldn't defeat Jian Wushuang despite gaining the strength of a medium-level celestial master. Looks like he'll be able to obtain the 3rd soul-luring incense, but it remains to be seen if he can obtain the 4th. He looked forward to seeing what would happen. The 3rd incense could burn for a month. The 4th was good enough to last an entire year. Though many celestial masters of Green Fire Palace had obtained the soul-luring incense, what most of them got was the 2nd incense, the kind that burned for only a day. Few obtained the 3rd. Boom. Inside the hall, a loud explosion reverberated as Jian Wushuang was thrown backward. He appeared to be in a very wretched state. Yu Ding immediately looked over at him. Did he lose? Jian Wushuang had indeed lost. With the 4 puppet fighters, whose strength had reached the level of a medium celestial master, working together, it was impossible for Jian Wushuang to soldier on for long. I've tried my best. I wonder what kind of soul-luring incense I got. The 4 puppet fighters stopped attacking after defeating Jian Wushuang. One of them went to the censer and inserted the largest incense into it. The incense was ignited immediately after being put into the censer. The 4th one. Jian Wushuang's eyes sparkled. It's really the 4th one. Yu Ding could not help exclaiming when he saw what happened. Obtaining the fourth soul-luring incense meant that Jian Wushuang could devote himself to cultivation for a whole year under the incense's guidance. This was a great opportunity for him. Many celestial masters were able to make gains after cultivating for just one day under the incense's guidance. It would be even more effective if they spent 1 month cultivating, but Jian Wushuang now had a whole year to do so. What an enviable talent! Shaking his head, Yu Ding turned around and left. Just as he was turning around, the hall became completely closed off. The moment the incense was ignited, Jian Wushuang became the only person with the right to stay in the hall to meditate. "Kid, this is your chance. Make full use of it," Jiyu King said. Not wanting to waste any precious time, Jian Wushuang immediately sat cross-legged and closed his eyes. Following the burning of the incense, a faint fragrance gradually permeated the hall until it reached his nose. He felt refreshed and relaxed all at the same time. Thus, he started to meditate. It went without saying that he mediated using the 3 sword principles that he created. Coalescence sword principle was the only one that reached the creation level. In order to upgrade it, he needed to integrate various sword principles to form an integral whole. Though his meditation went much faster than before thanks to the incense, he could not enhance the coalescence sword principle as he did not have other sword principle as a reference. Therefore, he chose to focus on his 2 other sword principles, Aurora Sword Principle and Scarlet Young Sword Principle. Jian Wushuang began with Aurora Sword Principle. He could only meditate 1 at a time. It was a pity that the incense was only effective on 1 person. Even though he had 2 original bodies, the incense was ineffective on the other one even if it had consciousness too. "The speed of Aurora Sword Formation," he murmured. He had sunk into complete silence. In the blink of an eye, an entire month had passed. Jian Wushuang continued sitting cross-legged inside the hall, but a fresh idea was swimming in his consciousness. The idea came from one of his memories. It was his memory of the inauguration ceremony of the supervisor, where his father had killed Celestial Master Lei Yi. The idea came from his father's sword then. His sword was painfully slow, yet this was nothing more than an illusion. It was actually unimaginably swift. Slow. Fast or slow? The idea in his mind became clearer and clearer as he continued to recall the scene where his father used his swordsmanship. "That's it. I finally understand it. No wonder I can't advance my sword principle to the creation level no matter how hard I tried. It didn't work even after improved its speed to its peak. So it turns out that it's not only about being fast, but it's also about being slow. The speed includes being both fast and slow. The Aurora Sword Principle I created can only go fast, so even if it has the highest speed, it's just part of the speed. Its power is still limited. This is like a warrior of the ancient world. No matter how strong he is, he's still in the ancient world and doesn't know the vastness of the world outside. Therefore, he can never reach his peak. That's the case for my Aurora Sword Principle. No matter how fast my swordsmanship is, it's just one kind of the speed. The real philosophy of speed is that one should meditate both the way of fast and slow, and then combine them perfectly. Jian Wushuang's eyes glinted with golden light. He had been unable to work past the bottleneck in cultivating the Aurora Sword Principle. He now knew how to make a breakthrough. The Aurora Sword Principle had reached the highest level and all that was left to do was for him to create a slow sword principle. Once he combined both in a perfect way, he would be able to create the speed sword principle. It's not limited to just the Aurora Sword Principle. Scarlet Young Sword Principle works the same way, he murmured. The Scarlet Young Sword Principle was the toughest and most positive of all sword principles. It sought the extremities. The opposite of extreme positivity was extreme negativity. Only by creating the Scarlet Yin Sword Principle and combining it with the Scarlet Yang Sword Principle, could one acquire the Yin-Yang Sword Principle of the creation level. Having figured out this point, Jian Wushuang now had a clear idea of the reasoning behind his 2 sword principles. He continued studying them under the guidance of the soul-luring incense. Chapter 1092, Sudden Changes. Chapter 1092, Sudden Changes. Time flew. Before he knew it, an entire year had passed. The soul-luring incense inside the hall, massive as it was beginning to reach its end. The moment the incense was extinguished, the special fragrance that filled the hall vanished in an instant. The door was once again unlocked. Jian Wushuang, who was seated cross-legged, opened his eyes and rose to his feet. He wore a smile on his face as he made a small wave with his hand. Out of the blue, a sword light appeared. The dazzling sword light flew forward, moving so miserably slow that it seemed any Dao master could easily dodge it by using a body technique. However, never mind a Dao master, even a celestial master would be forced to confront the light with all his might without being able to dodge it. That was how fast the sword light was. The real speed sword principle is the combination of both fast and slow motions. The swordsmanship that my father manifested when he killed Celestial Master Lei Yi with a single strike might share a similar Dao with my speed sword principle. He smiled even wider after watching his sword light disappear into the void. He had finally made a breakthrough in his sword principles after meditating for a year under the guidance of the soul-luring incense. Now he had a second sword principle of the creation level under his belt. It was based on the Aurora sword principle and included two conceptions of fast and slow motions. It was called the speed sword principle. With the completion of the speed sword principle, Jian Wushuang now had two sword principles of the creation level. Naturally, his strength also skyrocketed. What a pity that the incense burns only for a year. If it lasts for another 2 or 3 months, I could finish the yin-yang sword principle. Jian Wushuang smiled faintly. In the past year, he had perfected the speed sword principle as well as created the scarlet yin sword principle, which now coexisted with the scarlet yang sword principle. Both were close to a perfect combination. Once that happened, he would be able to create the yin-yang sword principle of the creation level. Then, he would have a total of 3 sword principles of the creation level. It's just a matter of time before that happens now that I've found a way. It doesn't matter even if I don't have the soul-luring incense anymore. Jian Wushuang was delighted. He had benefited a lot in the past year. Jian Wushuang. Celestial Master Yu Ding's gentle voice drifted in as he walked into the hall. He came up to Jian Wushuang and asked, "How are things?" "Not bad," Jian Wushuang replied with a smile. "I'm sure you've gained a lot after cultivating a year under the guidance of the soul-luring incense," Yu Ding said with a sigh. "Since the rules of Green Fire Palace stipulate that we're only eligible for a soul-leading incense each, there's no reason for you to stay in Taiqing Palace anymore. Let's return to Green Fire Palace." "Sure." Jian Wushuang nodded. He was content with all that he had gained in the past year. He set off for the wormhole with Yu Ding at once and traveled using the same path as they had come in. Just as they walked out of the hall and were still in the corridor of the palace. Boom! There was a loud explosion accompanied by a strong aura of spiritual power. "Tchem!" Yu Ding's expression immediately changed. "What's going on?" Jian Wushuang frowned. Both of them sensed that the explosion and the aura of spiritual power originating from outside of the palace. It was not far from them. Is someone fighting outside? Jian Wushuang thought. Taiqing Palace was located on the huge battlefield. Experts from both Green Fire Palace and the Jin Kingdom could be found on the battlefield all year round, searching for opportunities. Considering their intense hatred for each other, it was normal for experts of both sides to fight when they met on the battlefield. "Come with me." With a serious expression, Yu Ding quickened his pace and brought Jian Wushuang to the gate of the palace right away. They hovered above the hall as they looked at the source of the explosion. Soon, several figures appeared in their vision. Hundreds of thousands of miles away, 3 golden-armored men besieged a silver-haired old lady equipped with a long stick. The old lady was bleeding all over and her aura was weakened as well. She was obviously severely injured. The golden-armored men emanated strong auras. 2 of them were medium celestial masters while the other was an advanced celestial master. The old lady was merely a medium celestial master. It would be strenuous for the injured old lady to cope with even one of them, but there was now 3 of them. "Oh no! It's Celestial Master Silver Moon." Yu Ding's expression darkened when he saw who it was. "Celestial Master Silver Moon? Is she one of us?" Jian Wushuang looked serious. "Yes. Yuding nodded solemnly. She has been adventuring on the battlefield. She's quite good at fending for herself and hasn't encountered major troubles for millions of years. But she's now facing grave danger. So what are we waiting for? Let's hurry and help her, Jian Wushuang said in a low voice. His Blood Mountain sword was already in hand as he was about to rush out. However, just as he moved, a transparent layer of restriction appeared in front of him. What? His expression changed. It's useless. Tai Ching Palace is quite unique. Though Temple Master Void has already tamed it, he can't take it away, so it has been left here on the battlefield. He keeps the restriction of Tai Ching Palace activated to prevent Jin Kingdom experts from breaking in. But that also means we can't get out of it, Yuding muttered. There's no way out. Jian Wushuang looked displeased. So are we just going to sit here and watch? I've reported this to Temple Master Void. He'll turn off the restriction as soon as he hears of it and we can rescue her then. But it'll take 2 breaths, Yuding said in a cold voice, with a tint of killing intent on his face. 2 breaths were merely the span of several seconds. This process was already very efficient. However, the passing of 2 breaths was more than enough time for Celestial Masters to launch a series of attacks. Could Celestial Master Silver Moon hold on during this time? Chapter 1093 Dead. Chapter 1093 Dead. Quick, Silver Moon, run over to us. Just hold on for 2 more breaths. Just 2 more breaths and Void Temple Master will. Celestial Master Yuding spoke in a loud voice in hopes that it would reach Celestial Master Silver Moon's ears. However, before he could finish his words, he heard a soft groan and later saw Silver Moon falling feebly to the ground. The scene was devastating for both Jian Wushuang and Yuding. Yuding, I'll turn off the restriction on Tai Ching Palace now so that you and Jian Wushuang can rescue her. Remember to be careful. Void Temple Master's reply came as soon as he received their message. Yuding sighed. Don't bother, Void Temple Master. Void Temple Master fell silent. He realized that there could only be one implication of Yuding's words: Silver Moon had passed away. Alas! Void Temple Master suspended their communication after heaving a sigh. There were 139 Celestial Masters in Green Fire Palace. Now they've lost another. Yuding shook his head. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands with a grim expression. Though he had never spoken to Silver Moon, both of them were members of Green Fire Palace and comrades who had fought for the Green Fire world at the risk of their lives. It was a terrible thing to watch a comrade fall before his eyes without being able to do anything about it. Jin Kingdom. Jian Wushuang clenched his teeth. Suddenly, Achem! Jian Wushuang and Yuding looked up at the same time. They saw 3 Jin Kingdom experts carry Silver Moon's body to the front of Tai Ching Palace after killing her. The experts stared at Jian Wushuang and Yuding through the transparent restriction. Then, the one carrying Silver Moon's body flung her at them. Silver Moon's body traveled like a flowing light before hitting the restriction around the palace. Bang! The Jin Kingdom expert exerted such enormous strength that Silver Moon's body shattered and turned into a bloody mist. Jian Wushuang and Yuding's teeth chattered when they witnessed this. Bastard! Yuding cursed loudly. Jian Wushuang's killing intent soared. Are you the coward of Green Fire Palace? The leader of the 3 Jin Kingdom experts, an advanced Celestial Master, sneered. Our monarch has ordered us not to trouble you as long as you stay inside Green Fire Palace. However, we're free to kill if any of you step onto the battlefield. Jian Wushuang and Yuding were livid. Pissed off, aren't you? If you've got guts, why don't you turn off the restriction, come out, and fight us 3, the advanced Celestial Master taunted. Suddenly, clang! A dazzling light burst out of the wormhole in Tai Ching Palace. 10 people rushed out of the wormhole amidst the flickering light. Simultaneously, the restriction around Tai Ching Palace was turned off. Shit! Let's run. Hurry and run! The 3 Jin Kingdom experts immediately ran when they saw the flaring light, completely forgetting how they had just taunted Jian Wushuang and Yuding. Since they were genuine Celestial Masters with decent speed, they managed to flee quite the distance and outran the experts coming out of the wormhole. Bastards of the Jinn Kingdom, they're lucky that they fled quickly. Otherwise, how I wish to kill the 3 bastard. Voices filled with rage sounded one after another. 10 people of both genders and varying ages towered over Tai Ching Palace, each of them emanating a great aura. They were evidently the celestial masters of Green Fire Palace. They had learned of Silver Moon's predicament through the communication between Yu Ding and Void Temple Master. Those close to her rushed over through the wormhole. However, they were too late. When they stared at the bloody mist that Silver Moon's body had disintegrated into, they could still see a little of her bones, blood, and flesh. Their expressions were ghastly. They all lived such long lives that they had lost all of their families. Nothing in the Green Fire world were of concern to them, except for their Green Fire Palace comrades who had risked their lives in the fight against the Jinn Kingdom. Silver Moon was one of their comrades. Naturally, her death pained them. Yu Ding, you were here when Silver Moon was killed. Why didn't you save her? A bald elder asked, nearly snarling. I wanted to, but the restriction was still there. I've immediately requested Void Temple Master to turn it off, but just as he replied, Silver Moon died. What else could I do? Yu Ding replied in a low voice. Though the bald elder was still angry, he did not vent it on Yu Ding any longer after hearing the latter's story. According to Yu Ding, the Jinn Kingdom experts probably ambushed Silver Moon. They injured and killed her before she could get help. If she sensed danger and got Void Temple Master to turn off the restriction earlier, she wouldn't have died, a petite and short young man said with a sigh. Though he looked young, his head was a shock of silver-white hair. He was the only one in the exceptional realm among the dozen celestial masters present, as well as the most senior one. His name was Chen. Following the short period of grief, the rest finally calmed down. Chen suddenly turned to look at Zhen Wushuang. Yu Ding, will you introduce your friend? The rest also looked at Zhen Wushuang in astonishment. They could see that Zhen Wushuang was a mere Eternal Realm expert. This is Zhen Wushuang, also a member of Green Fire Palace. Though he's still in the Eternal Realm, he has reached the top of the 3-star Imperial Kinsman Ancient God. He also possesses a number of trump cards and great battle strength. Hence he can rival ordinary medium-level celestial masters, Yu Ding replied. I've come here to take him to Tai Ching Palace. Oh! Chen and the others were surprised. Zhen Wushuang saluted them and said humbly, nice to meet you, celestial masters. Naturally, he had to be a little more humble when meeting these celestial masters who were like old monsters who had lived countless years. Chapter 1094, I'll take full responsibility. Chapter 1094, I'll take full responsibility. Zhen Wushuang? I've heard of the name somewhere. Oh, are you Nan's son? Celestial Master Chen asked solemnly. Nan's son? The Celestial Masters began to look at Zhen Wushuang differently. They lived in the Green Fire Palace all year round. They rarely visited the Green Fire world and thus, most of them did not know Zhen Wushuang despite his fame. However, they knew him as Nan's son. Are you Nan's son? Nan? That bastard. It's said that he took Ji Wuming away from the ancient monster clan. That bastard. They began cursing up a storm. Zhen Wushuang frowned and clenched his hands but restrained his rage. He could understand why they would have such an attitude and why they would curse his father like this. Kid, I heard you and your father were the ones who attacked the ancient monster clan and went up the heaven-ceasing peak to take Ji Wuming away. Chen glared at Zhen Wushuang. Yes. Zhen Wushuang nodded solemnly before adding in a low voice, Ji Wuming is my mother. Yes, she's your mother. But she's also the glimmer of hope in which Green Fire Palace earned after sparing no effort. She's supposed to shoulder the responsibility of the entire Green Fire Palace and Green Fire world. Now that your father has taken her away, that means all the efforts of Green Fire Palace are in vain. One of my sworn brothers, Celestial Master Peng, died because of your mother. If your mother could fulfill her duties, it would have made all our efforts and my sworn brother's death worthwhile. But now, he won't be able to rest in peace. Chen snarled when he said the last sentence. Zhen Wushuang clenched his hands even tighter, so much so that he was stabbing his flesh with his nails. Taking a deep breath, he replied solemnly. "I'll complete the tasks that my mother didn't fulfill. I'll take over the duties that she shouldered all by myself." Are you capable of that?" Chen scolded. "That's enough," Celestial Master Yu Ding said with a frown, finally intercepting their conversation. "Celestial Master Chen, all of you, I understand your frustrations. But the 5 palace masters have made their decision on this matter. If you're unhappy with the decision, you can take it up with them. Besides, Ji Wuming is Jian Wushuang's mother and Celestial Master Nan's wife. Humans are selfish. If you stand in their shoes, you'll find that they haven't done anything wrong." Chen's expression changed. He stared at Jian Wushuang for a long time before finally flicking his sleeve. "Since the 5 palace masters have made their decision, what else can I say? I hope the kid will be able to do something for Green Fire Palace. I don't expect him to be as competent as his mother. It'd be good enough if he even fulfills half of his mother's duties." He then turned around and left. Other celestial masters looked at Jian Wushuang with complex expressions but nevertheless, also took their leave. Soon, Jian Wushuang and Yu Ding were left alone in Taiqing Palace. Jian Wushuang was still clenching his hands. There was a tint of fortitude in his eyes that had never appeared before. "Jian Wushuang." Yu Ding looked at him. "Their attitude is extreme but they have their reasons. Please understand them." "I understand." Jian Wushuang nodded. He did not actually blame Celestial Master Chen and the others. "Mother." Jian Wushuang gritted his teeth. He had learned about her mother from Jian Nantian. The day Yu Ding brought him to Green Fire Palace, he also questioned him and was told the truth. Since then, he could understand why Celestial Master Chen and the others were so furious, as well as why they blamed and cursed him and his father. The Celestial Masters had paid too great a price for this. His mother was a member of the Ancient Monster clan who carried a pure Ancient Monster bloodline. Tens of thousands of years ago, the Green Fire Palace experts found the complete corpse of a heavenly monster with a pure bloodline on the battlefield. There was an intact heavenly monster's inheritance in the body, which presented them with a golden opportunity. The inheritance, containing a superb secret skill, was very powerful. The Green Fire Palace experts then requested the Ancient Monster clan to send 10 of their clansmen with the purest bloodline to inherit the skill. There were tests for those who wished to get the inheritance, of which 1 out of the 10 clansmen passed. That was his mother, Ji Wuming. Ji Wuming was instilled with enormous potential after gaining the Heavenly Monster's inheritance and secret skill. The palace masters who researched the secret skill bluntly said that she would be able to become the leader of Green Fire Palace if she makes great strides in cultivating the secret skill. The leader. She could become the leader. The 5 palace masters who took charge of Green Fire Palace all had enormous authority, but at the end of the day, they were still not the leader. The so-called leader was the supreme existence that would lead Green Fire Palace to destroy the Jin Kingdom. Such a leader was supposed to be powerful enough to earn the respect of all Green Fire Palace experts. His mother possessed such potential. However, the secret skill was so unique that she had to pay a high price to achieve it. One of the principles was to be heartless. That meant she would have to abandon all emotions, including love, kinship, and relationship. The only emotion that she could keep was nostalgia for her hometown. In order to make her abandon all her emotions, Green Fire Palace made great efforts to make her experience 9 rounds of samsara, to experience 9 births and deaths under the guidance of the secret skill. The Jin Kingdom somehow caught wind of this and dispatched a great number of experts to kill her. The Green Fire Palace experts had risked their lives to protect her. It was a ferocious battle, second only to the war 5 million years ago. Green Fire Palace had suffered great losses in the battle. Over 20 celestial masters were killed. They had sacrificed so much all so that Ji Wuming could learn the secret skill as soon as possible and then lead the entire Green Fire Palace. After she entered the samsara, she practiced through her 9 reincarnations under the palace's surveillance. The first 8 reincarnations went smoothly, for Ji Wuming had successfully eliminated her emotions during this time. However, unexpected events occurred during her 9th reincarnation in the Nanyang continent of the ancient world. Chapter 1095, Golden Image. Chapter 1095, Golden Image. Ji Wuming encountered Jian Nantian in her last reincarnation and showed that she was ultimately unable to discard her emotions. Moreover, she even gave birth to Jian Wushuang. Therefore, the efforts made over her last 8 reincarnations were completely ruined. Green Fire Palace was furious when they heard of it. They immediately brought Ji Wuming back and imprisoned her on the heaven-ceasing peak so that she could forget about Jian Nantian and her son. They sought to send her back to samsara and start all over again. Now, Jian Nantian had rescued Ji Wuming, once again foiling their plans. Their efforts and the sacrifices of over 20 celestial masters were all vain. Naturally, the Green Fire Palace experts despised Jian Nantian and Jian Wushuang. Understanding this, Jian Wushuang tolerated the reproaches of Celestial Master Chen and the rest. He would be the one to complete the tasks that his mother had not fulfilled. Don't overthink it. Let's head to Green Fire Palace, Celestial Master Yu Ding said. All right. Jian Wushuang nodded and returned to the palace with Yu Ding through the wormhole. I've told you about Green Fire Palace and taken you to where you should have been. If there isn't anything else I can do for you, I'll be taking my leave, Yu Ding said, bidding Jian Wushuang farewell. Thank you for your help, Jian Wushuang said gratefully. One more thing, Yu Ding said. If you wish to adventure on this battlefield one day, inform one of the palace masters first. He'll give you some necessary objects. Everyone is eligible to receive some objects from the palace master before setting off. Necessary objects? Jian Wushuang asked curiously. Tang Emperor used to be one of the palace masters. I heard that you're close to him. Maybe you'll receive his message token. You just need to give it to him then. Yu Ding smiled and then left. Jian Wushuang's face twitched. He was very interested in the objects. There were numerous opportunities and secrets hiding in the huge battlefield around the Green Fire world. Jian Wushuang wished to have an adventure there, but now was not the right time. He was still not strong enough. Strength. With his eyes glinting, he clenched his fists tightly. Soon, he arrived at the Fire Points exchange office. He hadn't exchanged for the 2 treasures that might be of use for him. Jian Wushuang, I've put aside the treasures Dao Yuanzi left behind that could be useful to you. Exchange the rest for Fire Points and see how much you can get, Jiyu King said. All right. Jian Wushuang nodded and handed his interspatial ring to the spirit to appreciate its value. He got the result in just seconds. 13,800 Fire Points. Jian Wushuang frowned. Dao Yuanzi was an expert from the blood-killing sect of the eternal chaotic world. How could all of his treasures be worth only 13,800 Fire Points? The sum was smaller than he expected. Jiyu King tittered. You think too highly of Dao Yuanzi. Sure, he came from the eternal chaotic world, but he was just an ordinary expert. He possessed some good treasures because he belonged to the blood-killing sect. The ones with great value, blood-killing plate armor, chaos gold bead, and spaceship, are all things you might need in the future. The other treasures aren't that valuable. We're already in luck to exchange them for that many Fire Points. Jian Wushuang agreed. 13,800 Fire Points was a small sum, but he was satisfied that they were enough to exchange for 2 treasures that he wanted. Jian Wushuang paid 10,100 Fire Points for the Golden Image secret skill and killing bead and then left. Green Fire Palace, along with its many palaces and mansions, was located on a huge floating land. Many of its buildings were empty. Jian Wushuang entered one of the unoccupied mansions, set a restriction around it, and began cultivating without the interruption of the outside world. He started with the Golden Image secret skill. The skill was divided into 3 steps, with the last step being the strongest. It was purely defensive secret skill. Usually, only those of or above the Celestial Master level were eligible to cultivate the first step of the secret skill, let alone the 2 other steps. He was eligible to cultivate it because of his exceptional physical strength as a 3-star Imperial Kinsman Ancient God. The cultivation of the skill was a complicated process. It took him a year and great efforts to complete the first step of the skill. He immediately noticed changes in his body after completing the first step of the secret skill. His skin would emit a faint golden light whenever he used his spiritual power. He looked extremely powerful. Jian Wushuang, being a 3-star imperial kinsman ancient god, you're stronger than ordinary celestial masters. Now that you've learned the golden image secret skill, your defense capability should exceed that of all celestial masters. More importantly, you still have the blood-killing plate armor. The armor could cut down 90 or even 99% of the force of the attacks targeting you. The remaining force could hardly hurt you. Few celestial masters are now stronger than you in terms of defense. Of course, when you become a Dao master or a celestial master combined with a Dharma body, your defense will be even more exceptional, Ji King said. Jian Wushuang clenched his fists and felt delighted from the bottom of his heart. He was aware of how strong his defense had become. It might not be enough for him to ignore the attacks of celestial masters, but coupled that with Ji King's healing ability, it was good enough for him to last a long time in a battle against a celestial master of the exceptional realm. Next, he began studying the killing bead. Ji King, you said that this bead is useful to me. What's its purpose? I don't even know how I should begin to refine it. Jian Wushuang frowned. He had tried refining the bead after obtaining it but failed each time. What was the use of having a treasure that could not be tamed and recognize its master? Who said it's necessary for the bead to recognize its master? Ji King asked with a mysterious smile. Chapter 1096, Confident Enough. Chapter 1096, Confident Enough. Warriors of Green Fire World like you are so short-sighted that you don't know their usage even if you obtain good treasures. Ji King tittered. Listen, the killing bead can neither recognize the master nor has a need to. Nevertheless, you can still use it perfectly. Did you sense the killing intent in the bead? He asked. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. He had checked the bead when he first received it and discovered that the reason behind its name, the bead contained an incredibly potent killing intent. The killing intent inside the bead was stronger than anything Jian Wushuang had imagined. No one in Green Fire Palace would be able to deflect such terrific killing intent. The essential part of the bead is its killing intent. That's what you need to refine, not the bead itself, Ji King said. Refine the killing intent. Jian Wushuang's eyes widened. How? He had never heard of directly refining the killing intent inside an object. That's why I said you warriors of the Green Fire World are ignorant. Of course you can refine killing intent. You just need a refinement technique. Ji King grinned. Refinement technique? Jian Wushuang was startled. You can only find the technique in the eternal chaotic world. When I was there with King Luo Zhan, I happened to learn a technique that could be used to refine killing intent. I can teach you that, Ji King said. I see. Jian Wushuang was delighted. Hurry and teach me the technique. Ji King imparted the technique to Jian Wushuang without hesitation. Jian Wushuang spent 3 days in meditation after learning the technique and finally mastered it. Use the technique and refine the killing intent. Be careful, the killing intent inside is strong. It'd be disastrous if you can't control it after refining too much of it, so take it slow, Ji King said. I understand. With a nod, Jian Wushuang began using the technique to refine the killing intent inside the killing bead. He was careful to only refine a tinge of killing intent. It works. Overjoyed as he was, he did not slow down. Half a day passed by in the blink of an eye. Jian Wushuang, seated in a lotus position, finally stopped what he was doing. He opened his eyes and took a deep breath. That's enough. It'd be strenuous to control the killing intent if I continue refining it, he murmured. Half a day had gone and the killing intent that he had refined was far less than 10% of the total contained in the bead. Jian Wushuang had done his utmost. Now that you've refined some of the killing intent, do you know how to apply it without my instruction? Ji King asked. Sure. Jian Wushuang grinned. He knew very well how to use the killing intent. Killing intent had an enormous impact on one's consciousness. If he combined the killing intent with his consciousness attack, one of his best tricks, it would greatly enhance his attacks. I've just created the swordplay of speed. I should make some amendments to the Heaven's Bane, which is based on the swordplay of speed, so that it contains two conceptions of fast and slow. The Heaven's Bane contains consciousness attack, so all I need to do is try my best to modify it. Jian Wushuang's eyes were shining. Heaven's Bane was extremely weird. It was one of his killing moves. After making a breakthrough in the sword principle and refining part of killing intent in the killing bead, there was still great potential for the killing move. Jian Wushuang immediately began researching. With the end of spring came summer, which was soon replaced by autumn. Time had really flown by. It was still rather calm in Green Fire Palace. The experts there boasted of extremely long lifespans. For them, 10,000 or even 100,000 years passed as quickly as the blink of an eye. However, time was precious to Jian Wushuang, a newcomer to the palace. This was the 8th year since he first arrived in Green Fire Palace. He stood alone in the courtyard of the mansion that he lived in. He held the Blood Mountain sword in hand and his eyes were partially open. The peach tree in front of him blossomed every season of the year. This was, of course, due to the unique landform where Green Fire Palace was located. With the passing of a breeze, a peach blossom fell gently from the branch. Before the peach blossom could reach the ground, Jian Wushuang moved. He drew out his sword and brandished it. A splendid and mighty sword light flared. The sword light was dazzling and fascinating. However, the sword light moved extremely slowly. However, it was the same sword light that cut the peach blossom, which almost reached the ground, in half. It only landed on the ground when the sword light vanished. Jian Wushuang withdrew his sword and opened his eyes. He smiled when he saw the two halves of the peach blossom. I've finally perfected Heaven's Bane after several years of research. Jian Wushuang smiled. He had complete the creation of 3 sword principles and equipped each with a suitable swordsmanship. The coalescent sword principle was equipped with bladed surge. Speed sword principle was equipped with death shadow. Scarlet young sword principle was equipped with Heaven's Bane. And now, the strongest and the most terrific one in his 3 sword movements was undoubtedly the Heaven's Bane. The movement was also his strongest killing move. When I created the speed sword principle, the power of Dao increased significantly. Then, I cultivated the golden image secret skill and improved my defense capability. Now I've enhanced the Heaven's Bane until it's at its prime. It's now perfectly combined with the speed sword principle and the killing intent of the killing bead. I'm now much stronger than when I was in the ancient monster clan. Now that my strength has reached this level, I won't be able to make much progress in a short time if I continue my cultivation here. It's time for an adventure on the battlefield. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands tightly. The huge battlefield was a land of opportunities as well as the place where Green Fire Palace and Jin Gold Kingdom experts met and kill one another. Jian Wushuang held much anticipation and eagerness for the battlefield. Before this, he was not entirely confident as he was not very strong. But now, he was confident enough. Chapter 1097 Ancient God Power. Chapter 1097 Ancient God Power. Celestial Master Yu Ding told me to visit Tang Emperor before going on an adventure on the battlefield, Jian Wushuang murmured to himself. He took out a token and said, Grand Teacher, kid, has everything been all right since coming to Green Fire Palace? Tang Emperor's response was swift. Not bad. Jian Wushuang smiled. He got straight to the point, saying, Grand Teacher, I'm planning to adventure on the battlefield. The battlefield? So soon? Tang Emperor was a little surprised but nevertheless said, Come to my palace. All right. Jian Wushuang nodded. Green Fire Palace was located on a huge floating land with many lofty mountains, each of which had a magnificent palace towering on the top. Tang Emperor, as one of the palace masters of Green Fire Palace, lived in one of those palaces. Jian Wushuang soon arrived at the palace and met Tang Emperor in the hall. Kid, I know you possess the battle strength of medium-level Celestial Master before coming to Green Fire Palace. You've improved so much since then. Nevertheless, You shouldn't underestimate the battlefield. Not only are there many Jin Kingdom experts lying in the wait, but there are also many dangerous places there. It could turn fatal even for me. You're still too young and have enormous potential. Why not postpone your adventure until you become a Dao master? Tang Emperor asked, trying to persuade him. Grand Teacher, I've naturally taken those elements into consideration before daring to go on the adventure. Jian Wushuang smiled. I see. I won't force you to change your mind then. I've found out some information for you. One of our celestial masters, Ghost Shadow, will be going to the battlefield soon. He's currently cultivating a secret skill and won't leave until 50 years later. You can wait for him to go with you. He also has the battle strength of medium-level celestial master. You can look after each other during your journey, Tang Emperor said. Thank you, but I intend to go alone. Jian Wushuang turned down the suggestion. Alone? Tang Emperor frowned. In his opinion, it would be risky even if Jian Wushuang went with Celestial Master Ghost Shadow. Yet Jian Wushuang wanted to adventure alone. Are you sure? Tang Emperor could not stop himself from asking. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded solemnly. He was quite aware of the dangers and would not have minded if Ghost Shadow could set off right now. However, he would have to wait for 50 years since Ghost Shadow was still in cultivation. Other celestial masters might not mind, but that was quite a long time for him. Besides, he was accustomed to adventuring by himself. The risks, on the other hand. The deceased celestial master Silver Moon, who also had the battle strength of a medium-level celestial master and strong only in terms of defense, dared to venture on the battlefield for 100 million years. Jian Wushuang was confident that he was much stronger than Silver Moon and had greater defensive power. If even Silver Moon dared to venture alone, of course he would not lose to her. Since you've made up your mind, I won't stop you. There are 3 objects that I give every expert who is going on an adventure on the battlefield. Look at them carefully. With a wave of his hand, Tang Emperor summoned 3 flowing lights that flew toward Jian Wushuang. The flowing lights floated in front of Jian Wushuang and he looked at them one by one. The first was a map made of an exotic beast's fur. This map was drawn based on the experience of the experts who had been exploring the battlefield for tens of millions of years, Tang Emperor said. Even though so much effort had been put into making this map, it nevertheless includes only a small part of the battlefield. Most of the battlefield is still uncharted territory. Now that you're going there, perhaps it'll be of use to you. Jian Wushuang nodded with a smile. He saw that many places, such as the 3 secret lands under the control of Green Fire Palace and Taiqing Palace, were marked in the map. Many naturally dangerous places in the exploring areas were also marked out. The parts of the map unmarked were obviously uncharted areas. After all, the battlefield was too vast and unpredictable. The area that Green Fire Palace had explored for tens of thousands of years was just a small part of the entire battlefield. Jian Wushuang turned to look at the second object. It was a token. The token is used to seek assistance from people nearby in times of crisis, Tang Emperor said. Assistance? People nearby? Jian Wushuang was confused. Kid, you're quite clear about the vastness of the battlefield. When our celestial masters are in trouble, such as being chased by Jin Kingdom experts, we wouldn't able to send experts to rescue them in time. The token would make all the difference in such a scenario. The token is used to seek help from nearby allies. Once the message is sent out, Green Fire Palace experts nearby would sense the message and your position through their jade stones. Then they'll immediately come to your rescue. However, it won't work if there aren't any of our people nearby, Tang Emperor added. I see. Jian Wushuang nodded with a smile, indicating that he understood the usage of the token. Finally, he looked at the third object. It was a golden water bead. Jian Wushuang could sense the enormous power contained in it by merely looking at it, and that power felt rather familiar. It's the ancient god power. Jiyu King, who was in his body, pinpointed the origin of the bead before Tang Emperor could open his mouth. Ancient god power? What's that? Jian Wushuang asked, frowning. It's a power refined from the ancient god power. It's the purest form of power and has multiple uses. Even among ancient gods, it takes one of a certain level to gather this power, Jiyu King said in a solemn voice. Is that so? Jian Wushuang's expression changed. Tang Emperor explained, the third object is the ancient god power, which contains the purest form of power. If you absorb it, you'll experience a drastic improvement in your strength for a short period of time. For example, our celestial masters can double their strength after absorbing a drop of this power for a short time. Chapter 1098, Hit the Road. Chapter 1098, Hit the Road. Double the strength. Jian Wushuang was surprised. An increase of only 10 to 20% was huge enough once one became a celestial master. When he was at the ancient monster clan, Celestial Master Heart Withered only improved his strength by 30% through the large and exquisite spirit gathering spell formation. Yet a drop of the ancient god power could double a celestial master's strength. This alone was a testament to how miraculous the ancient god power was. That's for ordinary warriors. It's a different story for you, Jiyu King suddenly said. What do you mean? Jian Wushuang was curious. The ancient god power is the outcome of the ancient god clan. Therefore, only real ancient gods can use the full extent of the power. Since Celestial Masters of Green Fire Palace don't possess any ancient god bloodline, it can only double their strength. But you're the real imperial kinsman ancient god. You can improve your strength trifold or even fourfold. Is it really that impressive? Jian Wushuang's heart was filled with joy. Of course, the ancient god power is extremely popular in the eternal chaotic world. Though it's not as effective for ordinary experts, it can be enormously helpful for experts such as Tang Emperor and Void Temple Master, Jiyu King said solemnly. In addition, the ancient god power can't be stored by ordinary ancient gods. Normally, only those who are stronger than 6-star gold-armored ancient gods can gather the power. Therefore, it's rare even in the eternal chaotic world. I've seen ancient god power in the Fire Points Exchange office before, but I didn't bring it up because it's worth too many points. I never thought that Green Fire Palace would be so extravagant and present a drop of the power to every expert setting off for the battlefield. Extravagant? Jian Wushuang asked in surprise. It was indeed extravagant if only those stronger than 6-star gold-armored ancient god could gather the ancient god power. If Green Fire Palace can give away the ancient god power so easily, I'm guessing they have plenty of it. Ask him how they collected so much ancient god power, Jiyu King said. Jian Wushuang nodded and inquired about this as suggested. Tang Emperor did not conceal the truth. There is probably plenty of the power on the huge battlefield. The Green Fire Palace experts could sometimes find some while venturing outside. How much they get depends on their luck. It varies from several drops to over 100 drops. Tang Emperor smiled. We obtained much of it in the past, but we've also spent a lot of it. Hence, we try to be conservative and only present a drop to those who are leaving for the battlefield. If you want to acquire more of this power, you may exchange for it in the Fire Points Exchange office. It's 5,000 fire points for each drop. I see. Jian Wushuang appeared to have deepened his understanding while Jiyu King was shocked. There are that many pockets of ancient god power in the battlefield. Could there be top experts of the ancient god clan among those who fought on the battlefield? Jiyu King murmured. Now that I've given you all the objects, you can decide when to depart. The battlefield is unusually dangerous. Be careful and come back alive, Tang Emperor said, leaving him a warning. Thank you, Grand Teacher. Jian Wushuang left after expressing his gratitude. He headed straight for the battlefield after bidding Tang Emperor farewell. However, before doing so, he discharged his original body. Though I'm confident about my strength and defensive power, I won't be in danger of losing my life if I keep my original body here. He also left behind some precious treasures such as the Mountain River Map and the spaceship. The Mountain River Map was a chaos divine treasure. Mighty as it was, he could not effectively exert its power. The same could be said for his 9-province seal. He dared not to use the spaceship as danger loomed in every corner of the battlefield. He left them all behind as he saw no use for them there. He took only the blood-killing plate armor, blood mountain sword, and killing Bede with his world body and headed for the road. With the green fire world being the center of the battlefield, Jian Wushuang reached the battlefield as soon as he stepped out of Green Fire Palace. In the vast expanse of the ruins were large amounts of building debris, left untouched by the wind even after hundreds of millions of years. The Green Fire Palace experts have searched the battlefield nearby numerous times, so there's no need to linger here. Others would have found most of the opportunities available, and the rest would be concealed in hard-to-find places. Holding the map made of animal fur, Jian Wushuang pondered for a short moment before an idea struck him. I'm going to explore the uncharted territories. The places that experts from the palace had explored were only a small part of the vast battlefield, as were the treasures and opportunities found. Most of them were still left untouched and undiscovered in the uncharted territories. Since he was here for the treasures and opportunities, he ought to explore places that no one had ever been to. Thesarius still far from the closest uncharted territory. It will take me over a decade to get there even if I rush over. I need to hurry up. He then began running at full speed. Since he was now at the explored area, there was no need for him to worry about natural dangers as those were clearly marked on the map. Thus, he ran unbridled. He did not come across even a single person in the decade he spent rushing over to the closest uncharted territory. Neither Jin Kingdom nor Green Fire Palace experts appeared on his way there. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,